Hello and welcome to this week's episode of 10-Minute Tuesdays, where we take on career development in 10 minutes at a time or less. My name is Heather and I work in career services at University of Wisconsin-Superior. Today we're going to talk a little bit about professionalism, which is really more like work ethic and behavior. It's based a lot on respect and resourcefulness, and paying attention to who you're serving. As far as your clientele and that sort of thing. So what we're going to talk about more specifically is dress, emails, and voicemails. So let's start with dress first. We have a page on dress. It's within the interviewing module. So once you go to the campus life, career services, and then you open up that student and alumni resources, you can get to interviewing, and then the dress tab right here. So it talks about the career closet, which you can always contact us to schedule an appointment. We have not open completely during COVID, but you can definitely use the closet if you make an appointment. Otherwise, in non-COVID times, you can pop in anytime. And then we have the 3 categories of dress. Business professional attire is kind of the highest level, the dressiest level, I would say. And you can go ahead and read through here. And then there is business attire, which is slightly more casual. A lot of times you'll see the difference in certain people who identify as men will maybe not wear a tie. They might go with a sweater, those sorts of things. And then when we get into business casual attire, you'll probably see maybe less skirts, maybe less button-down shirts or button-up shirts, maybe a more polo, that sort of thing. But in none of these should we see like t-shirt and jeans. It should be something that's a little bit beyond that. And honestly, as I led into before a little bit, dress is all about its context really, and its image. So thinking about what you're doing that day, who you're serving, those sorts of things. So like for instance, I used to work for Ducks Unlimited. When I had to present, I was in probably between business casual attire and business attire, where I had on nice slacks, potentially a blazer, and some sort of maybe a sweater underneath the blazer, something like that, nice shoes. But a lot of the rest of my job was out in the field surveying waterfowl, in which case I was in heavy jeans to deal with the prairie grasses, and I was in, rubber boots because the grass gets wet and wetlands are wet. Heavy coat, I needed to be warm and I needed to be protected from the elements and the wind. So it definitely varied for me. I also sometimes had lab days where I was in a lab where I might be helping somebody else with a project, and I had to wear, maybe goggles, or I had to wear some sort of a mask. And so those sorts of things just are all context, and that's what was expected of me on that day. So you may be given a dress code, and dress codes are meant to help you understand how to dress for the day. And that is the image expected of the employer. That is kind of the deal you make. That's what is expected of you when you start the job. The thing about dress is that it can feel like they're asking you to be somebody you're not. And so I would say in that situation, talk to your employer about how to make it work. Chances are they might be open to that conversation, and you won't ever know if you don't have that conversation. So certainly if you have some sort of a texture issue, or some other sort of underlying thing that might be on the side of a differing ability or disability, you definitely have a right to bring that up. So don't forget about those sorts of things. So that's a little bit about dress, and I'm going to just stop sharing my screen here, and I'm going to talk about emails and voicemail. I'll do voicemail first. So voicemail, whenever somebody calls you, like if you're in a, let's say that you're in a job search and they don't get you on the phone, right? Your voicemail should pick up. First of all, you need to have space on your phone so that people can leave a voicemail. Nothing more frustrating than not being able to leave a voicemail because it's full or because it's not set up. Second thing is the message they hear from you should be your voice. Don't use the robotic um, kind of standard default that they have. And in the message that you say, you should say your name. I like to make sure that students know to say their first and last name so that they get an idea of how to pronounce your name. I don't have an easy last name, so that's an important feature for me. And then that it's just a basic message. So, hi, you've reached Heather Rickrell. I'm not able to take your call right now. Please leave your name and number and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you. That's it. That's all you need. And then make sure that you can return that voicemail in a timely manner. So really within the business day is best, but within 24 hours is pretty standard. If you don't return in that time, chances are they might think you're not interested and they could decide to move on. So you definitely don't want them to do that. The other thing I would say is that if you are going to not be available for a couple of days, like let's say you go off into the boundary waters or something like that where you won't have reception, you need to put that in your message. So, hi, this is Heather Rickrell. I'm not available to take your call. I am out of range of reception until Monday, March 22nd. I'll return your call as soon as I can upon my return. Thank you. So something like that works very well. Your work voicemail, they may have certain things that you need to say. They might have a tagline like, thank you for calling McDonald's where we're always smiling, or what, like whatever. It's a great day to work with so and so, whatever the tagline might be. And then probably your name and your position potentially. And then they might require you to say their office hours or whatever it happens to be, but you can keep it pretty basic. Again, whatever information you need to know to respond to the call. You might need a order number, case number, something like that. But definitely you want them to leave their name and number and maybe a best time to call them back. So that's a little bit about voicemail. As far as emails go, for those of you who are applying for jobs and you've got some sort of a Gmail or other account that's not your UW Superior email, you just want to make sure that that's professional, whatever comes before the @ and that it's pretty easy to, if someone needed to type it in the to line of an email. So that's something to think about. And then just remember that you must have a subject line that makes sense. And it can't be too basic or broad. So it needs to be to the point. Make sure that you're not using hey in the greeting line. It should have a greeting. Usually you want to use dear. And then the email itself needs to be very professional. Okay, so it should be clear. It should be concise. If you have a question, state it clearly. If you're messaging a thank you note, be clear and specific, all of those sorts of things. And then you want to have something like a sincerely or respectfully at the bottom. And then you do want to have some sort of an email signature. So like for me, I just have my name and my title, pronouns, email, phone number, things like that. So you just decide whatever it is that you want. But it's again, really important that you are clear and concise. And if you do have a question, you might want to mention that you checked on the website and didn't see it, or maybe you can ask them like, where can I find this information? You just want to show that you've tried so that you're resourceful and things like that. So they don't think that you're just like out there kind of looking for information and it might seem kind of weird or off-putting to them. So again, and that email professionalism goes for when you're searching for jobs. It goes for when you're in the workplace and all of those sorts of things. You will be surprised just how much that extra step goes with professional emails for gaining respect in the workplace and having people communicate with you as well. You will get respectful emails typically in return. So that's a little bit about dress, emails, and voicemail. Again, it's a piece of work ethic. It's about respect. It's about resourcefulness. All of those sorts of things. If you ever have more questions about these topics that we talked about today, feel free to contact us in Career Services and we'll be happy to help. Otherwise, I just want to thank you for joining us this week for 10-minute Tuesdays, where we take on career development in 10 minutes at a time or less. Thanks for attending today. See you next week and take good care out there.